I'm going to give a warm welcome. Let's give a round of applause for our moderator who's conducting the interview, Jonathan Calixto. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So my name is Jonathan Calixto. I am so excited to be moderating tonight's Q&A. I will be asking for your help, so if you guys do have any questions, just make sure to jot them down. We will open it up for some viewer questions as well. So to kick off tonight's Q&A, I do want to introduce some of our cast and crew, starting off with the man of the night, of course, writer and director Daniel Diosdado. Woo! Awesome. Next up, we have this fabulous lady who is all about fashion, and tonight she did show us, she also has the acting chops, of course. She is Vanessa Calderon, and she played Deneen. Awesome. So now help me welcome Lauren Biazzo. She played our famous and popular Leah. Awesome. And last but certainly not least, the man we're all giving the side eye to tonight. He played Aaron, and please help me welcome Dietrich Teschner. Awesome. So I do want to start off by asking you guys, we just saw the film, live audience tonight. So how does that feel? Maybe we'll start with Dietrich down there.
Yeah, it's just really, just really, really amazing to see it on a big screen. I feel like that's a unique experience these days. And this was my first time watching it. I waited. And I just really couldn't be happier than to be in a theater in New York City and watch the premiere. Amazing. The amount of work that we put into it in a very strange time. And it was perfect.
Amazing.
I mean, I was going to say all the same things. So, it really is just an incredible experience to see it for the first time on this humongous screen. And I felt very lost in the story, which I feel like is a good thing because I was in it. So I wasn't really paying attention to that. I was just like, wow, what's going to happen next? Even though I knew. But it's really cool to be surrounded by so many incredible people who worked on the film and just everybody else who's out here to support it. So thank you for coming.
I got one. We'll share. Well, after so long, as they said, I've been living all this closer. And, the man of the hour has been working 24/7 on this film. And the pre, the post, and everything. And now, still that we see some little details that you want to keep working and keep working and keep working. But overall, we are finally proud of saying, okay, this is a great thing that we've done. And what we are really looking forward is for you guys to enjoy and be entertained, basically. Thank you for coming.
I was extremely nervous because to sum it up in a few words, we moved to New York City to make movies, and it took 10 years to be able to finally make this one and put it up here for all of you and for the world to see. For me personally, it's a dream come true, and it could have come in a better day. Thank you. Let me thank everybody from the cast and crew who are here. Marianne Goodell is right there. I'm not seeing anybody because the guys are far. But I saw Paris Bradley here, Jeff Kanje as well. Yeah, I see you there. Walter Krockmal right there. Rob McCaskill, I saw you. There you are. Am I missing somebody from the cast? And especially I want to thank Steve. Who? Steve Germano. Yeah, but that's not from the cast. There you go. I want to thank Steven Germano right there is the executive producer of the film. I couldn't have done it without you, man. Thank you for your trust and love.
Amazing. So many people to thank. But, you know, Daniel, like you said, and you mentioned today or around this time is kind of marks your 10-year anniversary of, you know, coming and moving to New York to chase this dream. And now you've been able to, you know, manifest it. And it's premiering here tonight at Regal. So congratulations, first off, with that.
Thank you.
Let's give it up, right? It's something to be proud of. Many people may not know Daniel, but you are the writer, director, one of the producers as well. So talk to me about how was that like the experience of wearing all those different hats with putting together the Nomad?
I'm the editor as well, and I was in charge of props on set.
Everything, one-man show.
Yeah. And I was operating camera for a few days as well. So yeah, wearing many hats. I'm an only child, so I'm used to do everything by myself. So wearing many hats is something that I've pretty much always done. It is exhausting. It is very rewarding, but it puts you in a very personal connection with the work because you can delegate some stuff in some people, but ultimately you are responsible for a lot of things, not just directing. You're responsible for everything pretty much. So this is a very personal job for me. It comes straight from the heart, from things that haunt me, things that worry me, philosophical questions that I wonder and stuff like that. So wearing many hats, it's a funny way to say it, but it was exhausting. I don't know how many pounds I lost on set, but yeah.
I mean, well, with that as well, like you mentioned, it is a personal connection that you have to the project. We do see it as well with all the different storylines of the different characters, how they even intertwine, they cross paths with each other. So talk to me about how important was every character's storyline to telling the bigger story that we see in the movie?
Awesome question. How much time do we have? Okay, so these three amazing actors, by the way, give it up for them, please, because I love what you guys did. From the storyline point of view, Danine represents reason and science and critical thinking and all that. Aaron represents religion, dogmatic visions of the world, and I'm gonna get to Leah in a minute. So those two are pretty much antagonistical. Is that a word? Antagonistic. Thank you.
We love it.
And it's a balance about those two characters throughout the whole film. And when they find the truth that they prove, both of them in the same experiment, in the same lab, they prove that God doesn't exist. They prove it mathematically. He's a priest and she's a scientist. And they're looking for the truth in their own way, but when the truth comes out, they react in a very, very different way. He goes crazy and starts killing people. He's lost and confused. And Danine starts to trying to stop that madness from killing more people. But ultimately, at the end, they both die. The loved ones die, and it's not a happy ending for any of them. Leah, on the other hand, she's a tortured soul since she was 7 when she was abused by her dad and all that. And then she had a very strange relationship with man. She couldn't really, have loved anybody in her entire life and everything. So when she meets Aaron for the first time, she feels kind of like an animal instinct. She's attracted to him, and she doesn't really know why. It's very animal, very, out of reason. And she then loses her mom, fulfills her goal of killing her dad, but still feels nothing. She feels empty. But at the end, she chooses to believe that everything happens for a reason, even if it's total bullshit. There's actually her line at the end. I choose to believe this, even if it's total bullshit. So Leah represents hope. Like, we try to understand the world to the best of our abilities without losing hope. So that's what these characters, arcs, and storylines intertwine and why.
Yeah, and I love that. I love how you especially like broke it down to how like Deneen and Aaron so opposite of each other, you know, but they kind of have the same outcome at the end. The relationship between Leah and Aaron as well, that attraction. So I do want to ask Lauren and Dietrich as well. How do you make sense or understand that relationship between Leah and Aaron? Do you think they really liked each other? Did they need each other? How do you make sense of that?
Well, I'll say I think both characters are very isolated by their anger, and there wasn't really anybody else. And when they found each other, there was an opportunity for intimacy, which is probably the first time either of them had felt it before becoming this new version of themselves. And I think it was just intoxicating for both of them, and they had to. For Leah's character, I think it was maybe a little more complicated.
I mean, like I said before, you're just taking all the good answers here. Everything I was going to say. No, I definitely feel like they are both these broken people. And like you said, like, did they need each other? I feel like they did need each other. So sometimes you can't make sense of it. And throughout the whole movie, you see that Leah's trying to make sense of everything and trying to, everything happens for a reason. There's no such thing as coincidence. So I think there's a lot that's happening between them that, she's really just, she can't make sense of, but is trying to give a reason to, and she's okay with that at the end. And I think that's what gives her kind of that hope, and that hopefully when, the sequel comes out.
We're manifesting it.
But her going on in her, in her future life, that everything's going to be okay because she's choosing to make it okay. And you know what? He was in her life for a short time, but I think he was there for a reason.
Aw, I love how you ended that. That's beautiful. With that, another relationship as well that I think was really nice to see play out on the screen was that just even small interaction between Deneen and Leah as well in the park, right? After they both have experienced these deaths in their life, of one the mother, the other one their partner as well, someone that they loved. So in the conversation, you talk about faith and even truth, right? And we have this quote that Deneen finally says, and she gets out, that truth is like an antivirus, right? She even goes on to say, some people are immune, others get sick. So I want to know for you, Vanessa and Lauren as well, how important do you think that interaction was between both women? Were they both starting to be faithful? Were they starting to see that, or did you think they still saw it as a negative in their lives? So maybe we can start with you, Vanessa. Yeah.
I think for Deneen, that's when she realizes that she's talking to someone that doesn't know what she's into, and she recognizes herself in a similar position, that we're both working with a man and dealing with a man that we don't really know, and we thought it was different. And also, this character has been looking for the truth for so long and has been trying her best. When you're working hard and you just finally get to the truth, and then the truth, it really can't come out because it's gonna be very difficult for everyone to understand. And basically for the same character, like, she doesn't even know if she's driven herself crazy or if she's not insane anymore, or she's sane, or what is she doing? And she feels very guilty about it. And she kind of sees herself reflected on her in so many little details. And it's a beautiful scene. It was hard. Central Park was very hard for us, but it was a beautiful thing.
And it was really nice seeing it finally, all put together. And I just, to go off of everything that you're saying, I feel like we just went through this really tough time, both separate, but kind of along the same lines, losing people that we love, that we care about. And it kind of gives my character a little bit of clarity. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make this decision and this is gonna happen. But I was at my rock bottom when you came there. So what you're saying, I'm like, that is bullshit. And you know what, I had to make a decision, and I listened to what you said, but you seem a little crazy. But it's okay. You give me clarity.
Like, just a little crazy. Well, speaking about deaths as well, I already told Daniel this in the back, and like before this, I can't forgive you for killing Miss Angelina out here. That really hurt my heart, for Leah as well. But with that, Daniel, I do want to ask you, how important was to have those deaths happen for, Deneen and Leah? Like, how important was it for their characters' arc, just at their peak of their storyline, then this big tragedy happens for them?
Okay, it was totally made on purpose that they were suffering the same thing, pretty much the same thing at the same time, loss and grief, to connect them without having met each other. Because those two only meet each other for the first time in the park bench, but the audience follows those characters along throughout the whole movie. And I think it's important because, what important is because the movie talks about coincidences, what a coincidence is. And when do we start taking something as a coincidence? Because one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and after 25 times, that is a coincidence. That is the event that is important for you, but it's just a chain of events. So it's a coincidence that those deaths happen at the same time if it was in real life. But it's just a tool as a writer to connect characters that haven't met each other. And it serves that purpose in the film. It's a coincidence in a world of coincidence.
Yeah, and it was, like you said, it was a very beautiful scene to see between both ladies have that interaction. With that as well, another death that I feel like left us a little bit like, oh wow, this really happened here at the end, was that of Aaron's. You know, he took his life, and his last line that really struck me was, "I'd trade all my tomorrows for a single yesterday." So I want to ask you, Dietrich, do you think that at that point Aaron was starting to be faithful or show signs of faith? Like, what do you think that last line meant to him?
I kind of saw it as the total dissolution of his faith. You know, he became something different when he learned that God didn't exist, and that totally debased him, and he was something else for a while. And then Leah presents a new way forward, but he's already destroyed everything, and he can't have faith in the future anymore. He can't see a way forward. I feel like that's why he ends his life. Maybe if you were more creative, you could have figured it out. But I mean, yeah, it's just he gave it all up. Yeah.
Let me say something about that line. It's not a line that I wrote. I just stole it from a song. Me and Bobby McGee. I don't know if you heard that song. And I think it was one day I was rewriting some scene, and I was playing that music in the background, and I was like, hold on, what? And I fell madly in love with that line. I was like, I need to use this because it says exactly what I wanted Aaron to say last before he...
Yeah. Well, even with that too, can you talk to me about the evolution of that line then? Because then Leah says it at one point too in the park, like her own iteration of it as well. What was that kind of like evolution?
Yeah, that's why Leah means hope. So Aaron looks into the past. I will change whatever for the past because, you know, this is it for me. And Leah will change the past for the hope of a better tomorrow. So that's why Leah is hope. It's like, all right, I don't care about the past because she suffered a lot in the past. And the only thing before her now is hope and the promise of a new, better tomorrow.
Now, before we continue as well, I just want to make sure we do have time for viewers' questions. Anybody has any questions? Yeah.
It's okay, I can speak. No, for me, we're recording this. Cool. Yeah. All right. I've been meeting Danny and a group. We all work together. So he's been talking about this movie for, at least 5-6 years that I know of. So great to see this movie, come about, and it's just amazing. And I live in Nomad, so I was glad to see some of the shots in my block. Well, that was great, near the Virgin Atlantic Hotel. Anyway, my question is your casting, especially the Leah's character. Give us a little more detail about what was the process. Did you just come across? Did you use a casting director? Or did you just know them? How did you go about that? How many times did you meet them?
I never met them before. The only one that I knew was Vanessa. Of course, I don't know if you know, but she's my wife. So
Marriage, yes.
That's not out of it.
But with them, it was a different. I never met them. It was during the pandemic, so everyone was locked down. And I just put it out there to friends that I knew that I was looking for actors for my next movie. And it turns out somebody told me about their manager, and it was your manager. It was like 2.5 years ago, so kind of the process is a little bit blurry. But it was referenced from somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, and then we ended up doing auditions on Zoom auditions. Why not? And it was very hard because one of the most important things for an actor, sorry, but it's how to act and how to react. And it's easier when you have somebody in front of you that you can see, you can smell, you can touch. But on Zoom, these two need to go through auditions and callbacks and all that on Zoom. So they were on each other's places. I was in my place, and we were just casting through a computer. It was tough for them, but it worked. And if these two can click over Zoom, they can definitely click on set. And that was definitely what made me just bring them into the project.
Amazing. Does anybody else have a question? Yeah, let's start right here, and then I'll work my way back.
Okay, are there, okay. Hi, congratulations. What a
Thank you.
beautiful film. What a beautiful, beautiful film. The performances, the writing, the stakes from the beginning. In each journey, I still don't know who was the protagonist, if it was him or, but it was a beautiful ensemble. So, and a silly question, but obviously somebody has to ask it. So the point is, do you believe in God or not? Is it? I know it's a philosophy. You leave movies with a question, right? Yeah. Not with the answers. And it was beautiful posed. The question was beautifully posed, but I'm curious.
I don't believe in God. It's a straight answer. I don't know how to say it anyway. I mean, I respect any creed that respects other creeds, that respects human life and human rights. But personally, myself, I don't believe in God.
Awesome.
And I don't feel sorry for it.
Thank you for that. I know we have a question back here as well. I'm walking around like Oprah here.
Congratulations, really engaging story, beautifully told and beautifully produced. I was so impressed with the way it looked. I've been involved with so many independent films, none of them look as good as this.
Yeah.
You're
Thank you. Thank you.
Who was your location scout? Every location looked fantastic. The graffiti looked great. The statuary, the steam chimney in the middle of the street. I mean, wow, that's a Hollywood film.
Thank you, Rob. I know it's not a question, but I appreciate it. Thank you. That was Rob McCaskey, by the way. He plays Frank, Diaz's father. Give it up for
He asked who the location scout was.
How was the location scout?
Who was
the location scout?
It was Daniel.
I did it. I started doing it on Google Maps under a lockdown.
Wow. 2019.
And then I took my stills camera and I went around the city taking pictures of every possible scenario that I wanted to film in. Yeah.
So impressive.
Thank you.
Awesome job. First off, fantastic job to the crew, the cast, everyone.
I don't see you.
Hi.
Oh, there you go.
Blending in. But I have two questions. One is, through it all, what was the most difficult part about filming this film over the course of the last couple of years, whether it be post, pre, during the production? And two, what was the most enjoyable part for you about making this film?
So the hardest part and the most enjoyable part, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oof. Hardest part is making a movie is hard in and of itself. It's never an easy thing. It doesn't matter what the budget is. You will face problems a different kind depending on the budget that you have, but it's always a very complicated thing. The hardest part, I don't know.
COVID.
Oh, yeah, yes. The hardest part was that we were 25, 30 people on sets, sometimes, not every time, of course. It was during October 2020, so a high peak on COVID. And thanks to Michael Goldberg, I don't know where you are. He worked on the film, making sure that everybody was safe and nobody got sick. So that was hard. So thank you, Michael. And the most enjoyable, I gotta say, it is today, when I can finally put it out there for all of you.
Yeah, I was curious what each of you will take away from this experience. What most lasting impression that you'll take away to your next projects?
I'll say just to get out there and make something. What Danielle's done is really inspiring. This was probably the hardest time to make a movie when this was filmed, and people really weren't for the most part. And then out of the blue, I get an audition. And I get to film again, and just seeing that drive, seeing that passion is really, really inspiring. And being here today is just the icing on the cake. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, too.
There's so many things I could say. There was just like a lot of very interesting parts to making a movie, like something that might be interesting to all of you, like you completely shoot out of order. Like the first day we all met each other, we filmed the last scene. I'm like, wow, this is so weird. But like, as long as you are in it and you are connected with all the people that you're working with, it just makes it so much easier and it makes it so much fun. And no matter what the subject matter is, because there's a lot of heavy stuff in there, like we always had a good time. So if you're having a good time on set, I feel like everything translates even when it's dark. And like I said, no matter what kind of movie it is, it totally translates, and you can tell, you can see that chemistry, you can see that we all really liked working together. So I would love to work with these guys again. Sequel.
Yes!
That is true. Just for me. I'm the only one.
Everybody's really doing it. Your spirit could be back.
That's why she won the sequel. Okay. We can do a pre-sequel. It is true that everybody there were so generous. Like every single scene that we did and we worked, it was very easy to work with anybody because we worked like one day and then another day with someone else. For me, the most difficult and special day was on the rooftop watching the beautiful Empire State. That day, I was suffering from post-COVID symptoms at this time, and I was dead all the time. And that day I got there, and I remember Danny looking at me like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm great. I'm shooting. I'm fantastic." And they put my makeup on, and I look great. And when we're running the lines with Jeff Kanje, I can't say my lines. I just can't. The fogginess, I don't know what was happening with my brain, but it wasn't working. So Jeff and Danny, they were like, "Okay, let's do it again." They didn't give me a face. They didn't do anything. They just were there waiting for me. For me, it was like an hour. But they were there, just being there, super generous, and it's okay, we have all day. And I was looking at him like, this is a lot of money, so I better do the share very fast. So I had a couple coffees because it was cold, and luckily my fogginess disappeared, and we ran the lines and we did everything. But that type of lead, that type of co-actor working with you in that type of situation, because all my shoots were difficult and they were all always there. I'll do it with you again, we'll do it again, or whatever. And that time was really, really intense. And when people are there, we can do magic, that's for sure.
Daniel, just to wrap up as well, I know because we're tight on time, it's kind of a little evolution of that question as well. When people watch this, what conversations do you hope it starts, or what do you hope they take away from the film?
Okay, so I want them to question everything they take for granted. Go against question everything that you think you know, challenge your beliefs, talk to other people, open up to other, I don't want to say cultures, but ways of thinking. Open up to different people and the different ways they have, the different vision that they have of the world. Be friendly with them. And I think questioning, it's the most, I don't know how to put it. Freedom doesn't mean anything if you cannot question everything. Questioning is freedom. If you had what a dictator does is doesn't allow anybody to question anything. And I challenge people to question everything. That's what I want you to take from this.
That's powerful. I feel like you're always giving us one-liners. I love it. Yeah, everyone, let's give it up for everyone who's here, all the cast and crew who are part of the Nomad.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So don't forget the after party.
Yeah, if you guys have a flyer, at the bottom right, there's an address of a place. We're gonna get a drink in there. We're not buying, but we're going. All right, hope you see you all there.
You heard it here.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's my guy right there.